Our political insiders join us in the studio. Charlie Giroux for the Republicans and Tony May for the Democrats. Guys, thanks for being here.
Let's talk about this city treasurer. The Harrisburg city treasurer stepped down just within the last hour and a half. Because he had filed for personal bankruptcy, there had been no financial background check done on him. Charlie, I'll start with you. Do you think that should be a requirement in the future?
Bluntly, it's hard to imagine that it wasn't done this time around, particularly when the previous treasurer left under a cloud of impropriety, that you wouldn't have a complete, exhaustive examination, vetting, as Tony and I would call it, of the candidate who was going to take his place. The explanation you heard from the city solicitor, quite frankly, is kind of troubling. Well, we're kind of learning on the job as we go. Right. That kind of seems to me to be 101, that you would look at all of the aspects of a person's background, particularly whether or not they're qualified to be bonded under the rules of the city.
Yeah, the solicitor saying they've never had to deal with something like this before.
Well, the treasurer himself has had to deal with something like this before, and it just seems to me it should have occurred to him, and no offense, some people do need to file for bankruptcy for good cause, but knowing that you had to file for bankruptcy and then you're going to be keeping the books of a city which is near bankrupt, it should raise a red flag.
Yeah, we have the red flag. Is this another dark cloud over Harrisburg? Yet another problem we're seeing?
That's an even better analogy. It is a dark cloud over Harrisburg.
Well, we'll see how that goes and how soon they get his replacement named. Let's talk about the governor's race. We always like to do that. Charlie, the AP story that came out says that people are backing Tom Wolf simply because they don't like Governor Corbett. You know, you work for the Corbett campaign for governor. What are they doing about that?
What you're seeing already is massive movement away from Tom Wolf because people are now taking a close look at him. They've known up until now that he was a nice guy and drove an old Jeep. Now they're beginning to ask questions about what kind of governor would he be. They're answering the question that Tony May asked on election night. Is he qualified and fundamentally prepared to be governor? And they're saying in large numbers right now, no, he's not. That in and of itself, I think, is what's moving the numbers right now. This is a much, much tighter race, as we're going to talk about in a moment, than it was just a few days ago, largely because people are now saying, I don't want Tom Wolf raising my taxes.
Two reasons why it's a tighter race. One, the Magellan poll, which just came out, that shows a 7-point gap. The director of the Magellan poll announced that they changed their targeting and discounted the number of Democrats that they interviewed to reflect the fact they think Democratic turnout, as Charlie and I have said, will be less in southeastern Pennsylvania than originally projected by the Magellan people. So that's one of the big reasons why the gap has closed, just based simply on who you interview, how many people you interview. The second factor is that the people who are, as he says, rushing in droves to support Tom Corbett are Republicans who are coming home to their own party. And in the final analysis, I mean, I'll go out on a limb now. I'm saying that the gap on Election Day will be 7 to 8%. Tom Wolf beating Tom Corbett by 7 or 8%.
All right.
All right.
Charlie Giroux, Tony May, thank you for being here. You can see our political insiders every Tuesday on CBS 21 News at 5:30.